Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rekah, Hakwadash, Barakata. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and peace and salutations to Yakim out there pushing this word in truth. This is the Brother Rai with another video, and I'm going to be doing a sit down on how so-called white skin, which is really red, is actually leprosy, and leprosy is a curse from the Most High. And I'm going to start it off with an article from theguardian.com which reads, Dove apologizes for ad showing black woman turning into white one. Brand says it missed mark after being accused of racism in campaign promoting body lotion. And with this being Esau, the so-called white man's kingdom, they didn't miss the mark or make any mistakes. This was intentional because so-called white skin is the standard of beauty and top of the line in this wicked society, and so-called dark skin is the exact opposite. And as you Jakes know, the darker you are in this kingdom, the worse off you are. But with these scriptures I'll be reading, we'll see that that's clearly not the case. And as I like to say, this is the shit, and this is the champagne. I'm going to go to another article real quick. Beyonce Knowles, L'Oreal accused of whitening singer in cosmetics ad. So again, in this demonic society, the lighter you are, the better you are. And now I'm going to go to Leviticus chapter 13, and I'll start at verse 13. And to anybody out there watching this video, I recommend you read all of Leviticus chapter 13. Then the priest shall consider, and behold, if the leprosy have covered all his flesh, he shall pronounce him clean that hath the plague. It is all turned white. He is clean. And this is a clean leprosy, which is what Esau, the so-called white man, has. And just because you have white skin doesn't necessarily mean you're a Edomite, because as you can see now with Jake popping a bunch of Edomite women and having children, Jake was doing that in the past. And say a male child was born from that union, and that male child went on to pop another Edomite woman and so forth, eventually that offspring would come to look like a so-called white person or Edomite. But if it were a male child, and his lineage could be traced through his father's side back to the Israelites, then he would be an Israelite as well. But when raw flesh appeareth in him, he shall be unclean, and that is like boils and open sores and stuff like that, and that's unclean leprosy, which people would consider that to be anyway, since that would look like a kind of sickness. And the priest shall see the raw flesh and pronounce him to be unclean, for the raw flesh is unclean, it is a leprosy, and that particular person would be put away for 7 days, and after that he would go see the priest, and the priest would examine him to see if that raw flesh had healed itself or not. And now I'm going to jump down to Leviticus 13 and 30. Then the priest shall see the plague, and behold, if it be in sight deeper than the skin, and there be in it a yellow thin hair, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a dry skull, even a leprosy upon the head or beard. So as you can see, blonde hair isn't a good thing either. And you got it pretty bad out there if you've got blonde hair and blue eyes, because you're just completely cursed from the Most High. And I did a few searches on Google Images on leprosy and clean leprosy, and what I got was pretty interesting. So I'm going to start with a search on regular leprosy. And you get what most people consider to be leprosy with this Phantom of the Opera looking stuff, which is some kind of skin-eating bacteria. And when I looked up clean leprosy, you would imagine it would be a clean form of whatever this is. But what I got was, as you can see, they even have leprosy Leviticus. And without the raw flesh, you've got skin as white as snow, and blonde hair, or that yellow thin hair. So this goes to show that Esau is just doing his job at being a master liar and bullshitting and covering up who and what he actually is. And I like this picture right here. It's a good example of Jacob and Esau. And now I'll get a few examples of leprosy in the scriptures. I'm going to go to Exodus chapter 4, start at verse 1. And Moses answered and said, But behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice, for they will say, Yahweh hath not appeared unto thee. I'm going to jump down to verse 6. And Yahweh said furthermore unto him, Put now thine hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. And he said, Put thine hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again, and plucked it out of his bosom, and behold, it was turned again as his other flesh. And this would only make sense if Moses was a dark-skinned man, because if he was an Amalekite that calls themselves the Israelis, then it wouldn't make sense for him to put his white hand into his bosom and then pull it out, and it would be a white again, leprous as snow. That'd be a double white, which is just stupid. So this goes to show that Moses was a dark-skinned man, and that the Israelites are dark-skinned people. I'm going to get some examples of that before I continue on with leprosy. I'm going to go first to Jeremiah 14 and 2. Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. And you'll have those Amalekites say this applies to them since they wear those Abraham Lincoln hats and those black coats unto the ground. But when we go to the definition in the Strong's Concordance, we'll see that they're being a devil again and trying to deceive the people. And the definition for black is H6937.
Strong's H6937.
Kader, which reads, to mourn, be dark. Go, to be dark, to darken, to cause to mourn. To be ashy, which you know who you are out there. Dark colored, by implication, mourn in sackcloth or sordid garments. Be black, blackish. To be, make dark, darken. Here's a good one. To be of a dirty, blackish color. And then when we go further to Song of Solomon 1 and 6, look not upon me, because I am black, because the sun hath looked upon me. My mother's children were angry with me. They made me the keeper of the vineyards, but my own vineyard have I not kept. And this is King Solomon speaking. And when we go to the definition for this, it is H7840.
Strong's H7840. Shecher Hor. Shecher Hor.
Shecher Hor. Blackish. Swarthy. Black. It's pretty much dark skin, dark complexion. Blackish. Used of the color of the skin. So as you can see, the true Israelites were and still are a dark-skinned people, even though you have confusion of faces out there, which look like the different nations through all the mixing that has happened in the past years, as well as the Northern Kingdom brothers, such as the Latinos and Native Americans, who are lighter-skinned and may have ethnic differences as well. And now I'm going to go to Numbers chapter 12. I'm going to start at verse 1. And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married, for he had married an Ethiopian woman. And they said, Hath Yahweh indeed spoken only by Moses? Hath he not spoken also by us? And Yahweh heard it. Now the man Moses was very meek, above all the men which were upon the face of the earth. And Yahweh spake suddenly unto Moses, and unto Aaron, and unto Miriam, Come out, ye three, unto the tabernacle of the congregation. And they three came out. And Yahweh came down in the pillar of the cloud, and stood in the door of the tabernacle, and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forth. And he said, Hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, Yahweh, will make myself known unto him in a vision, and will speak unto him in a dream. My servant Moses is not so. Who is faithful in all mine house? With him will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches. And the similitude of Yahweh shall he behold. Wherefore then were ye not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? And again, and the anger of Yahweh was kindled against them, and he departed. And the cloud departed from off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. And Aaron said unto Moses, Alas, my Lord, I beseech thee, lay not the sin upon us, wherein we have done foolishly, and wherein we have sinned. Let her not be as one dead, of whom the flesh is half consumed, when he cometh out of his mother's womb. And Moses cried unto Yahweh, saying, Heal her now, O God, I beseech thee. And Yahweh said unto Moses, If her father had but spit in her face, should she not be ashamed 7 days? Let her be shut out from the camp 7 days, and after that let her be received in again. And Miriam was shut out from the camp 7 days, and the people journeyed not till Miriam was brought in again. And here's a pretty good idea what Miriam would have looked like with that leprosy. And I don't know about y'all, but I feel pretty uneasy looking at this. And I think a lot of you do too, because deep down in your spirit, you know this is leprosy, and you know it's a curse. And the reason Miriam was hit with leprosy and not Aaron, even though they both sinned against Moses by complaining about his Ethiopian wife, which he wasn't breaking the laws or anything by dealing with a woman of another nation, is because a woman is never supposed to compass a man or speak amongst men. She's supposed to be only seen and not heard, which we'll see in 1 Timothy 2:12. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. And silence is golden for women, so you women should cleave unto your men and follow their orders. And now I'm going to close it off in 2 Kings 5. I'm going to start at verse 1 and jump around a bit. Now Naaman, captain of the host of the king of Syria, was a great man with his master, and honorable, because by him Yahweh had given deliverance unto Syria. He was also a mighty man in valor, but he was a leper. And around this time, the Syrians were also a dark-skinned people like the Israelites, so that leprosy would have been very pronounced. I'm going to jump down to verse 10. And Elisha, who was a disciple of Elijah, sent a messenger unto him, saying, Go and wash in Jordan 7 times, and thy flesh shall come again to thee, and thou shalt be clean. Because a maid of Naaman's told him that there was a prophet of God in Israel that could cure him of his leprosy. So he went and found Elisha, and this is what Elisha told him to do. And now I'm going to jump down to verse 14. Then went he down and dipped himself 7 times in Jordan, according to the saying of the man of God, and his flesh came again like unto the flesh of a little child, and he was clean. And he returned to the man of God, he and all his company, and came and stood before him. And he said, Behold, now I know that there is no God in all the earth but in Israel. Now therefore, I pray thee, take a blessing of thy servant. But he said, As Yahweh liveth, before whom I stand, I will receive none. And he urged him to take it, but he refused. Now I'm going to jump down to 20. But Gehazi, the servant of Elisha, the man of God, said, Behold, my master hath spared Naaman the Syrian in not receiving at his hands that which he brought. But as Yahweh liveth, I will run after him, and take somewhat of him. So Gehazi followed after Naaman, and when Naaman saw him running after him, he lighted down from the chariot to meet him, and said, Is all well? And he said, All is well. My master hath sent me, saying, Behold, even now there be come to me from Mount Ephraim 2 young men of the sons of the prophets